everyone, welcome to Kelly's Creative Dream Studios, and today is day 2 of our 31 days of Halloween, doing October daily MemoryDex style. And I'm going to point out something when I get ready to put this one together that I didn't point out and remind everybody of yesterday. But right now I'm going to get my number 2 glued into place. And yes, doing the scallops gave me the texture that I wanted without the bulk, so this has been a good change. Okay, so let me move this aside and show you what our inspiration is for today. It is this tag by BeCreativeJS at blogspot.com, and it's a tag, and it has layers, and I like that. And I know that somewhere in here there's a bat, but I'm not going to use the bat today. We're going to do something a little different. But I'm taking this 4x6 tag and turning it into a 4x4 MemoryDex card. So here we go. I started with the MemoryDex card, and I did the black one this time, and I'm going to have to trim that up. Here's my little scissors I couldn't find earlier. And I'm going to make sure I get this trimmed now because otherwise my pieces won't fit correctly. So we'll get this paper trimmed off of here. This paper is from Stampin Up. It is called Perennial Essence. And let me bring the sample back in here really quick and show you why I chose this paper. If you'll notice, this tag has a little bit of a mixed media behind it, and look at the colors. Look at the colors. Isn't that, it's letting me use my stash. I could have done the mixed media on this, but I'm trying to use up supplies. So, now, one of the things I didn't point out yesterday is that these are all file folder style, so you have a place that you can stick pictures in, and then you can journal on the back about that day's events if you're wanting to use this as an October daily project. Now, I'm going to slide this one back in so we can watch here. I started with the hat, and I used this Sizzix die, and I cut this hat out. Now, this one has an extra trim on the bottom. I didn't do the shadow trim, so you're seeing the liner. I did not do that on this one. I just simply let me get my pieces separated here. I cut it out first on foam, black foam, so it had a little bit of dimension without having to use dimensionals. And it gave me that extra black around the edges. And then I cut this out from a lavender, I layered it with a piece of the black glitter from Stampin' Up. And this is a purple velvet from Stampin' Up. And most all of my Stampin' Up products are now retired. I apologize for that, but the key point is dig through your stash. You bought it at one time, so use it. So I started with the hat. Now I do not have the legs and the feet. We're going with just the hat, and I'll be gluing that down. And then from this set, this is a Stampin' Up! Frightful Tags. I think this was from like 3 or 4 years ago, and I punched out the spider web in Pearl Essence, and it gave me this, and it's got a little bit of a shimmer and a sheen to it, and I'm going to put it right down here in the bottom corner. She's going to go up there just like that. And then I have the spider. Now the spider I cut from a recollection set called Halloween, and it had the spider and it had a 2-piece coffin. Now we're going to be using this die set in one of our shaker videos, so stay tuned for that. And what I did was I punched it out of, good heavens, it's got lots of gluey strings on it, and I didn't even glue anything. Well, kind of. But I punched it from black gloss paper, black foil, and then I put a little red bling on the back for a oh, you know the name of the spider I can't think of, but it's poisonous. Black Widow. And this is from a collection from Dollar Tree. You know, you get these long sheets of different colored gemstones from Dollar Tree. And I used the red one to give me that dot on her back. Now, the other thing is, I have this really pretty net mesh stuff from Stampin' Up. And I have a couple of rolls of this. So some of this may wind up a yard or two in the store coming up. So stay tuned for that too. I am working on the store today. I've been up since 4:30, so they're, as I'm taping this, it's about 11 o'clock on Monday morning, and I need a nap. So what I did was I just cut a little bitty strip of that, so it almost looks like she has a piece of the spider web on her. And I'm going to stick that on the back of the spider. See if I can get him going the right direction. And I just know I should not do this with glue, but I'm going to do it anyway. Because you know, once I do this, I'm going to wear the glue. It's a given. It's a given. But see, you know what I think I might do? Is I think I'm going to lay that in there, just like that. So it looks like he's on his little web string. And then I'm going to take my 1/4 inch scissors. And of course I don't have any black handy. Of course I don't. Because it's the one color I need. I'm digging here. Let me see if I can find a scrap of black. In all my scraps over here, you'd think there would be black, but there isn't. So let me go up behind me here really quick. Into my black scrap bag. And I'm just going to punch a 1/4 inch hole. Reinforcer out of there, just like that. And if I do it this way, maybe I'm not going to wear the glue. We shall see. But I think I need a little bit more glue on there now that I've given that time to dry. So I'm going to lay that right there, put a little dab of glue, and then I'm going to come back with that black dot and I'm going to lay it right on top. And that will sandwich that string in there. See if we can get that to move so he comes up out the back end of him there like that. Now that's going to have to dry before I can do anything else to it. And with my trimmers, I've already moved him. Okay, so we're going to let that dry for a second while we put the other pieces in place. Now we're going to lose part of this, and that's fine. But what I want to do is, I think I want to use my Quick Tack clear glue here. And let's see about where I want to put this. Let's go down here to where this is my focal point. And we're going to run this up the spider web. And I'm not worried about getting into all the spokes of the spider web. I just want to give it some contact. And it's almost hard to see whether or not I've even got glue coming out. But we're hopeful. Okay, so I'm going to come back in here with that, and I'm going to lay this down right here. And see if I laid that on the right spot. And then we're going to do this, and I'm going to use the Tombow for the rest of this here. And I want to lay her right in here at an angle so that the spider is coming down towards the web. And I want to be able to put this right back here behind her hat. And we're going to have to shorten that up a little bit. And I'm stuck already. I'm stuck already. So let's do that right like that. I'll cock her hat just a little bit more. Now when that dries, I will come back and I will trim off all the other stuff, but you know me and glue, if I try to do that now, I'm going to have a mess. So we're not going to do that yet. The other thing is I have a stamp set, and I just pulled the stamp. I didn't bring the stamp set over with me, but it also is a recollection stamp set. And I want a little piece of gray, I think. Really light gray. I'll use a piece of smoky slate. Doesn't that sound appropriate for this? Oops, not a square. Square's not going to give me enough room. Let's use this one. And I'm going to stamp it in black. It says Halloween Frightful Yet Delightful. And I'm going to stamp it in black on this gray. This one has not been used, so it's going to take a little extra ink. I am finding sets that I had that I've not used before. And I'm going to stamp this down here where I've got a little bit of room. And I probably should have... let's redo that one. That turned out horrible. I probably should have used my Stampin' platforms, what I should have done. I'll make sure I get all my letters on here. Normally I wouldn't rock my stamp, but some of those clear stamps just need that little extra. I'm going to give this a wave. And then I'm going to tear this down. Tear it across. And now that I've got some of the extra out of the way, I can come back and do this with you. And we're going to skinny this down a little bit. And I've been doing everything in the black soot, but when I stamp, I like to use my Memento Tuxedo Black. But I think this gray is going to look really good against this Perennial Essence, which is kind of a Monet kind of color scheme. Now to distress, I am going to come back and use my black soot. And just dust those edges and give them definition. Now, where do we put this on here? I wanted to go right here, but I don't know if I've got room. I do. If I go right there, I've got room, and I can trim that off. So let's... Now, I bet you're wondering where number 2's going, huh? We'll get there, I promise. We will get there. Okay. Make sure I've got... No, let's put it down here. Let's go down here with it. If I scoot this over, I've got just enough room to do that. And then we can come back. And I want to make sure I'm going the right direction because I need to put this on the bottom. And I'm going to move that spider web out of my way and put day 2 right there. And that's going to take care of that. Let me come... I am really having trouble with some of these things with my trimmers. I've never realized how bad my trimmers can be some days. And I thank my sissy for sharing the hereditary thing with me. Okay, now I've got this, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to trim that off. Because otherwise it's going to balk up when I put it in the box. And then I'll come back and dust that just like that. Remember to dust my edge of my folder. And I think I can come back now and trim the spider web off. And I'm going to turn it over so I can see what I'm doing. And we are at the end of our day. Now these little pieces I won't throw away because they'll be good for tucking into clusters. So these little pieces of this cobweb are going nowhere except in my creative box. And there is our day 2 of 31 days of Halloween October Daily MemoryDex style. And now I can put a small picture in there, and I can journal on the back with a white pen, or I could put a white piece of cardstock on the back for journaling. That's going to do it for me today in the studio. I will be back tomorrow when we pull our first stick for our monthly color challenge, and in the afternoon with day 3 of 31 days of Halloween. Thanks for joining me in the studio today. Remember to like, share, subscribe, click the notification bell, and invite your friends to come play along. Creative blessings.